Alrighty. Our team is drone detection. Our problem is with detecting, identifying, and eliminating enemy drones. The problems with that right now are, first of all, one of our solutions has to be in regulated U.S. airspace, and then in regulated or unregulated, there's a problem with being detected when we are trying to detect the other drone. My name's Brooke. I'm a writing major.
Matthew Bushkofed, I'm an engineering major.
Bailey Slade, I'm a computer science major.
I'm Anna Rose Mumba, and I'm a nursing major.
And Jack O'Neill, I'm an intelligence analysis major.
So, one of our hypotheses this week was, is it possible to fake a drone electronically? So if I'm flying a drone and I lose signal with the drone, I'm notified on my controller that I lost signal. So we want to possibly make the controller think that it's still connected to the drone by hacking into it some way. And that was one of our hypotheses. And through an interview, we were told that it is actually possible to do that. And so we are going to look into how we might actually do that. And another hypothesis is how might we take a drone out with a net. And so one of our interviewees told us that we just have to have like 4 or 5 like weighted lines to drop into a motor, and then the motor would crash and sending the drone out of the sky. So we were looking into how we might launch a net to the drone.
Yeah.
So one of our interviewees is Mr. Taylor. He flew a helicopter for the Navy. It was one of the first drone helicopters that was converted from a fully functioning helicopter into a drone that you could control with a joystick outside the helicopter. He flew it for a couple of years. He gave us a bunch of intel about the unmanned aerial vehicles that the military uses, and a bunch of information about it.
So a couple of other quick moments talking to people down at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, that stuck out to us during some interviews where we're kind of talking about what kind of batteries to use and just different methods of, leveraging our solution. And a big moment for us was a lot of these military people already have these batteries or have these, like the attack system, the Android tactical attack kit. They have this on board with them. Why can't we create some kind of application that integrates with our system with this already existing these batteries like the 5590 that they already have in their backpacks? Make it leverage like that, because that's going to be such a bigger value added to them. Also, our problem was given us by the Air Force Nuclear Weapons Center, defined as identify, detect, and then or detect, classify, and so what is it, and then counter. And talking to a lot of these people, we've had trouble kind of with our sponsors who've just been rolling with stuff. But a lot of these people are saying, if I'm on the ground, I'm more likely to know if it's a friendly drone. I want to find it and take it out. I don't care what it is. So it's kind of like almost looking to kind of just scrapping that, classifying what size it is, what's it carrying. If it's coming at me at fast speed, it needs to just get taken out of the sky. So that's some of the big moments that came out of those interviews.
For the mission model canvas, we kept all the information, or all the general information we did in the weeks before. One of the reasons we didn't classify it by all military or all lieutenants or anything like that was because they all seem to agree with the problem. The thing is, all their solutions are very scattered and they all have very different ideas. So I put in all of their contacts and then I classified them from there, because that does still matter, but I didn't want to make it seem like they all agreed when they don't. And then I included our mentor, mentioned leveraging existing solutions, which I think was a huge aha moment for this week. And then one of our other contacts, we keep getting repeated ideas. Some of them are shot down, some of them aren't, but GPS signaling to take down, like taking down the enemy drone's GPS keeps being mentioned over and over again. So one of our this week, that is not legal in the U.S., but he mentioned we should do that overseas. That would probably be the best solution.
The ideal person that would be using it would be a soldier camping out in territory awaiting the enemy. And when we spoke to one of the people this week that we interviewed, he mentioned that one of the pains is that the drone of the enemy is going to be moving fast. So if you think of it as in, like, if you're at a batting cage and you see the baseball flying by at 30, 40, 50 miles an hour, just think about, like, shooting that with a gun and, like, pinpointing it to that detail. It's very hard to do, and that's where, like, one of the pains is. So something that he suggested that has been brought to our attention before is a net. And with the net, the problems in the past have been that the net is too heavy and too big. And it's mainly because that they've been using animal netting. So the things that we're going to be trying to look into is something as in, like, fish netting with, like, not as many strings and not as heavy and is lighter. So the beneficiary is going to be, once again, for the soldier, deployed overseas, protecting containment.
So a customer workflow right now is highly variable because there are lots of situations for this to potentially be implemented on a broad scale. It can be implemented in the United States or also overseas in special operations by the Air Force. But at a basic level, the customer workflow starts with a drone being spotted or detected by the user. This drone is, of course, operating in either restricted airspace or in the airspace of the current operation. From that point, if it's a soldier in this situation, they apply the rules of engagement to take action from there and either contact their superiors with confirmation of their action or a request to take that action. From there, countermeasure is taken, and the threat is, hopefully neutralized. Again, this is very broad right now, and needs to be more specific.
So right now, our MVP is we're going to have a system of counters that, through passive detection methods, will detect enemy drone, and then it will notify the soldier, and then they can go through the process of whether or not they should take out the enemy drone. And then once they have the authorization, they can launch our countermeasure, whether it's a drone, net, or a bullet, whatever, to take out the enemy drone.
That's it. All right, guys. 1, 2, 3. Feedback?
I have a question. Perhaps it's too simplistic, but if it is, pardon me. But, okay, I'm a soldier, I'm on the battlefield, and let's say it's nighttime, and the enemy is sending a drone to kill me and everybody in my squadron. So, and I liked what you were talking about the baseball. How high, actually, would the drone be flying? Because I'm assuming it has to be flying high enough that you can't hear it.
Not necessarily.
It depends on what kind of weaponization they're using. If the drone itself is a bomb, maybe they just want to go straight in, fastest route possible.
How fast would that be?
They can go like 40 miles an hour.
40 miles an hour?
Depending on the wind and all of that, they can, 40.
And at what kind of height?
So I think ideally you wouldn't be able to hear it until it gets 40 feet above you and drops something on you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of...
You can hear them about 100 feet away.
In the right conditions.
Yeah. If it's flying 300 feet above you, you probably can't hear
So if you hear it at 100 feet, how long does it take to be over top of you?
A couple seconds.
So this is why also we're looking into kind of some kind of, what am I looking for? What's the word I'm looking for?
A bubble.
Bubble dome.
Go back a couple slides, please. Keep going, right there. Okay, so one more. There, stop. Okay, so if you want to piss off an Army guy, tell him he's camping out in enemy territory, waiting for you. Like that is, take that off the slide. Don't publicly put that on there. Like that is like a red flag. Camping out means you can't talk to anybody. It's a derogatory term. You probably don't know that, but it means like you're not doing your job. You're just out there camping out, waiting for the enemy to show up. That whole sentence would be seen as a really negative term. So take that off because you'll offend people.
What would the proper phrasing be?
So you're patrolling in enemy territory. Just leave it at that. Now, the reason why I brought that up is because your customer is the U.S. Air Force.
Yeah.
So the U.S. Air Force is not patrolling in enemy territory. They patrol at 10,000 feet.
Yeah.
And I tried like hell to get them to go below 10,000 feet to help. They never would. So that's a really important aspect. If your customer is U.S. Air Force, they're not patrolling. So that's pretty important. The other thing is, if your customer really is U.S. Air Force, they give a damn that it is illegal to shoot down a drone. Because when they're charged with shooting down a drone, it is an emergency situation. So just take that off the discussion. The fact that you're not selling this to civilians, right? It's going to be a military top. So just forget about that. That's a red herring that you don't even need to worry about. Wherever it's going to be used, it is for a military or a CIA, somebody that has authorization to shoot down a drone. Doesn't matter where it is. So just take that off the table. What else?
On your, if I can jump in while you're thinking about that, your customer jobs, can you explain that to me? What is a symbolic system program and understand algorithm? Well, how does that relate to what the people do? Right, and I think that's my general sense, and remember, we're giving relentless feedback here. I don't think you understand your customers, or your beneficiaries right now.
Yeah, so that's, you got to kind of step back and think about that aspect, and that's kind of what I was getting about. The U.S. Air Force is your client, but everything you've talked about as a soldier, I'm not sure who you need to redefine that. Yeah, figure out who that is.
I just want to add one quick question. It says, how important is not shooting down the good ones important to your client or your beneficiary?
Not very.
Not very. Right? It's not on their top.
Yeah, if it's invading the territory, it's bad.
So shooting down drones without discrimination is okay.
Yeah.
I mean, at least to think about. Yeah.
Can you go back to your first question?
I don't know who's doing the shooting.
No, doesn't it look like drones in regulated and unregulated spaces, airspaces? Like, what are the differences in the solutions? They basically told us they wanted a system that would follow the FAA and FCC regulations, and one that would not.
So I have a question about that too. Like, if you do one for the FAA, wouldn't it be fine where it's not?
So, like FAA, FCC.
So if you follow the regulations there, like, presuming they're not there, it's still fine.
But are there FAA regulations non-domestically? Like, you're looking at an international situation, right?
Well, they haven't told us whether it's going to be overseas or.
I think it would be overseas.
Or
Yeah, no, we
I think we have to cut off the feedback now, but.
should.
All right, thank you very much.
Oh.